Good morning, YMCA family. My name is Josh Heaston, and I'm the Director of Christian Mission for the YMCA of Greater Indianapolis. And I'm coming to you this morning from the chapel at the Jordan YMCA. I was asked to open up our campaign with a word of prayer, and I'm going to do that. But before I do, I would just like to give you a quick word of encouragement. And that is this. I simply want to say thank you. We are who we are as an organization because of friends, employees, donors, and volunteers like you. We simply could not accomplish our mission without you. And for this opportunity for us to come together and raise money to make a significant difference in our community, we're just so thankful. So thank you so much for being here and logging on this morning. With that, let me open us with a word of prayer. Lord, thank you for today. Thank you for this opportunity to come together and unite as a community to make a difference in the lives of people who may need the YMCA as a membership or a child care or sending a child to camp. Lord, we thank you for each person who is going to help us over these next few weeks raise these dollars. Lord, I pray that you would bless them, bless their families, bless their businesses, and just thank you for them and their willingness to use their time and talent and treasure to help us accomplish our mission. So Lord, would you please be with us the rest of this morning? We ask all these things in your name. Amen. With that, I'm going to introduce Cynthia Orr. She is a member at the Randsburg YMCA, and she's going to share her YMCA experience with us for our mission moment today.
Hi there. I am Cynthia Orr, and I've been asked to talk to you about Randsburg Y. Randsburg's a great place, just to start off with. It's been here for over 60 years, right here in this building, in this location. And I can't tell you how many people I have talked to who said with fondness, this is where they learned to swim. This is where they came to play basketball with their friends. And it has been a center of the East Side for so long. And it's a special place. It's a caring place. It's a place where you come to get fit. It's a place where you come to learn new things. And there's just some fun stuff. We've got a group that comes to play cribbage. We've got bingo. We have celebrating the holidays, the most wonderful Memorial Day service that I have ever been to has been here every year. And I grew up in the Air Force, so I've had a few of those in my life. And this is the one that touches my heart. One of the things I love about Randsburg, East Side is a very diverse community. And Randsburg is like a microcosm of all the community around us. Lots of different people from different cultures, all ages, all backgrounds. But once you're at the Y, here, it doesn't matter. You're just family. And that's a big part of what makes Randsburg so special, is that feeling of family. People care about each other. When I broke my arm a couple of years ago and I started working with Brad Bishop, and the best rehab therapy I had was with Brad. He was encouraging, he was knowledgeable. When I was discouraged, he lifted me up. And a couple of years later, he had to have hip replacement surgery, and it was my turn to encourage him and lift him up, because it's a two-way thing. This isn't a place where you pay a membership and you come in and you use their equipment and then you leave. When you're here, you're really family with people who care about you, and it shows. When the pandemic hit, it was devastating. It was for all of us, both sides, in and out of the building, because all that stopped. And suddenly people were isolated and they didn't have that support system that they were used to having. But I received calls from people here at the Y just asking me, how was I doing? Did I need anything? Just talk for a minute. And I saw that connection. And then my stretch yoga instructor, Louise Meals, divided our group up, and we had call lists. And I hate phone calls. No, I mean, I really, really hate making phone calls. But I had 5 people that I called every week. And at first, I was starting to call them because I felt they needed that touch. And then I realized I needed that as much as they did, because I needed that connection with my family from the Y. And when it came time for Louise's birthday, my team delivered a bouquet of balloons to her front porch, and we all stood out in the rain with our masks on and sang happy birthday, because that's the kind of place this is. It's not just come work out and go home. I can't tell you how special it is. I believe that every person emits their own personal, unique energy. And a handshake is an exchange of that energy from one palm to the other palm. But at Randsburg, we hug. And a hug is a direct exchange of energy from one person to another, literally heart to heart. And that's what the Y is here. So when we finally get this epidemic thing under control and everybody gets to come home again to the Y, we are going to have a huge party, and it'll be the Randsburg family reunion.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us today for the kickoff of our 2021 YMCA annual campaign. We are so excited about this year and about how your YMCA will respond to the most critical needs facing young people, seniors, and families throughout our community. And we're so grateful that you decided to start your day with us to learn about our annual campaign and to indicate your continued commitment and support for our work. It's really hard to think about 2021 without first reflecting on 2020, the many experiences that we had, and all the wonderful ways that your YMCA showed up in response to community needs. Your support was critical in allowing us to do the things that we did in 2020, and your support will be even more critical as we move into the future. So I thought I would start my comments today by sharing just a few slides with you that reflect on the impact of the work of the YMCA last year, and then a slide that looks forward to share with you the goals and aspirations that we've established for 2021. I've titled this Responding to Crisis and Building a Brighter Future. I think those two themes really couch what this experience has been like looking backwards and what we are going to try to accomplish as an organization as we look forward to the many great things to happen in 2021. You know, one of the realities of this pandemic has been this concept of social distancing quickly created a reality of social isolation. And early this spring, when our team was really spending time digging in to how we were going to respond in real time to the challenges that we were facing as an organization, one of the things that we recognized is that many of the seniors that we served, they didn't just lose the ability to go places and to be out and about. They lost the ability to be a part of the communities that have been such an important part of their lives. And the YMCA community is certainly one of them. And so our staff made a bold commitment that they were going to reach out individually to nearly every senior that was a member of our YMCA. And we knew for some, the calls would be short and not incredibly necessary. And for others, the calls would be much longer, much more impactful, and really important as they spent much of their time alone and feeling disconnected from the community. And that was the experience. I recall one of our staff sharing a story of reaching out to a senior member, and the senior member didn't need anything. She had food, she had the basic needs that were necessary to be able to continue to thrive during this time. But after a 30 or 40-minute phone call, it was clear to our staff member that what that senior member needed most was a friend. She needed someone to care, someone to reach out to her, someone just to spend a little time chatting with her on the phone, that is an example of how your YMCA showed up in response to community needs during this critical and uncertain time. Another example was providing childcare for essential workers. When our community shut down back in the spring, we knew that, for many people, they could work from home, but for many people, they had to continue to go out each and every day to ensure that basic needs were being met throughout our community. That included nurses, that included doctors, that included grocery store workers, and many other essential workers that are critical to our community continuing to function during this very difficult time. And so in partnership with others, including the United Way, the YMCA was able to provide subsidized care at 50% of the cost to families and children of essential workers to ensure that they could show up at every day in service to the community and rest assured that their kids are being well cared for and well taken care of in a safe and appropriate environment. Another example is e-learning care. When schools close, kids have the need for places to go. For some families, that can be home, but for many families, it doesn't quite work that way. And e-learning care has been one of the ways that our YMCA has ensured that when kids couldn't learn in a traditional classroom environment, that we were there to support their education, to support their distance learning, to make sure that they could get logged into their classrooms appropriately, to provide quiet places for them to be able to do their work, and to provide the support that's necessary for those kids to thrive. To date, we've served over 800 children through our e-learning care, and throughout the fall and throughout the beginning of this 2021 year, we've continued to respond to those changes in school schedules to make sure that parents and kids have the best possible environment to help them thrive during this really difficult time. The last example I'll share with you is an example of career development. We realize that one of the realities of this pandemic has been a precipitous rise in unemployment, and that individuals who were in decent situations pre-pandemic are finding themselves in really challenging situations during the midst of this pandemic and are very concerned about their futures when we ultimately get to a post-pandemic environment. And so we began in partnership with workforce development to launch initiatives this fall to help adults develop new skills and to promote employability opportunities for them. And it's been a great way to respond as an organization in real time to the challenges that are facing our community. The picture you're looking at is our first CNA class that graduated back in November, all of whom were then prepared to go into new employment opportunities to support their families and to hopefully create vision for how they could climb the ladder, learn more skills, and move from a good job to a better job and to continue to move up that employment scale. So that was 2020, an example, just 4 examples of ways that our Y responded to the needs of our community. I could have provided 20 or 30, but time just doesn't allow that to happen this morning. And so as we look forward to 2021, I want to share with you the 4 overarching goals that we've set as an organization. We made a commitment last fall that we were going to go into 2021 with a high level of focus, knowing that in this resource-constrained environment, we really needed to be intentional about how we were going to utilize our resources to accelerate the recovery of our YMCA and to respond to the needs and challenges that are facing our community. And so there are 4 goals that we've set as an organization, and we are fully committed to them. 1, we will disrupt isolation by fostering meaningful connections with a focus on mental, physical, and spiritual well-being. As I said before, one of the byproducts of social distancing is social isolation. And we know that we were not meant to live in isolation. We were meant to be a part of a community, and there is simply no community like the community that can be found here at the YMCA. We know that's going to look different. It's going to involve an expansion of how we serve people in virtual spaces and build virtual community. It's going to involve looking at how we can more effectively respond to the mental health challenges that are facing our community. And it's also going to involve making sure that as people begin to reacclimate to the YMCA, that they feel safe, that they feel like it's an environment that can help them achieve health in spirit, mind, and in body. Number 2, we're going to empower young people through programs that build relationships, develop confidence, and foster resiliency and independence. This pandemic has been hard on kids. They've been resilient and they've learned to adjust to things as they have changed. But we also know that for many young people, the amount of learning that has been lost over the last year is noticeable and will affect their future. We know that their confidence has been shaken by the challenges that they've been facing. And we are going to help turn that around. We're going to help young people feel this connection and relationship. We're going to help sort of create a greater sense of confidence and belief in their future, help foster those resiliency skills, and help develop independence to ensure that our young people are prepared for their futures. At number 3, we're going to maximize systems to drive efficiency and empower our staff to focus on developing excellent customer relationships and customer experiences. Again, in this resource-constrained environment, efficiency is even more important. And so we're looking internally as an organization to see how we can do things better to ensure that we're not wasting any resource on systems and processes that can be created and made more efficient, because we want to make sure that we're putting as much resource as we can towards serving our members, serving our program participants, and responding to the needs of our community. And then last but not least, we're going to extend our reach by advancing equity and inclusion and increasing accessibility to our YMCA. During this hyper-divisive time, when people oftentimes begin to see past each other without seeing each other, we are going to advance racial equity and inclusion in our community and within our YMCA. And we're going to increase accessibility to ensure that people of all ages, all incomes, and all abilities have the opportunity to engage in activities, programs, and relationships here in the YMCA of Greater Indianapolis. So that is our plan for 2021. We believe that pursuing this plan will position our YMCA for a very bright future and will accelerate our recovery from the impact of this pandemic. As I've said to our team oftentimes, as we've thought about 2021, I believe that our comeback will be bigger than the setback. That doesn't necessarily mean we're going to make up for all of the losses that we experienced in 2020, but it does mean that 2021 is going to be a critical year in recovering from the impact of this pandemic and positioning our organization for a much brighter and much more impactful future. But here's the thing that I want you to know. We need your help. The annual campaign continues to be the single most important fundraising activity of our YMCA. For a couple of reasons. One, it ensures that we have the resources that are necessary to ensure that people of all incomes, all abilities are able to be served and are able to be engaged in our YMCA. And number 2, it's a wonderful opportunity to share the story of the YMCA to the broader community. So many people think the YMCA is nothing more than the buildings that we have, but you know it's much greater. And certainly our buildings are important, and we want to continue to bring people into those buildings and ensure that they can grow in spirit, mind, and body. But we also want to reach beyond those buildings into communities to respond to the most critical needs that are facing young people, seniors, and families throughout our community. And you, as a donor, as a volunteer, as a friend of the Y, you get to help us tell that story. And so the annual campaign, yes, it's a fundraising campaign. It has a goal, and achieving that goal is critical to our success. But one of the non-financial goals is to expand community awareness of the mission, the impact, and the purpose of the YMCA. So thank you for your commitment to the Y. Thank you for your donations of your time, of your talent, and certainly of your treasure to help achieve our goal. And thank you for your willingness to invite your friends, your coworkers, and your colleagues to join you and to join me and to join so many others in supporting the great work and the great impact of the YMCA of Greater Indianapolis. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for starting your day with us. And thank you for supporting the advancing of the mission of the YMCA.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ashley Coster, and I serve as our Intercollegiate Services Director with the YMCA. It was just 1 year ago when our new Social Responsibility and Community Impact Department was formed. The goal for this new department is to engage young people and help develop them into change makers within our communities. We believe this goal can be reached by providing access, education, leadership development opportunities, post-secondary advancement, workforce development, and the opportunity for individuals to follow their career dreams and goals. By the end of 2020, our Social Responsibility and Community Impact Department had successfully launched a new program called Project Connect. This program provides an integrated education and training model that equips individuals with certifications that will help propel them directly into their career. Through a year that will inevitably go down in history as one of the most challenging years for many individuals and families, the YMCA persisted. Through a global pandemic, a nationwide shutdown, and tens of millions of individuals that went into unemployment, we did not stop working to provide these opportunities to the people that needed us the most. Fast forward to 2021, and we have successfully graduated our first 2 cohorts of Project Connect. 28 people that successfully completed this 10-week program against all barriers that 2020 may have brought into their lives. 28 people that are now certified nursing assistants thanks to this program, our amazing community partners, and our small YMCA team of directors that kept fighting to make this dream become a reality. Today, I'm excited and honored to introduce one of our most recent Project Connect graduates, Tanisha Price. We hope you enjoy hearing her story, and thank you for your continued support of the YMCA, so individuals like Tanisha have the opportunity to share their story as well.
My name is Tanisha. What the Y means to me. I started the Y with cohort 1. I had some challenges, and so I had to leave. And then I wanted to come back because I'm like, they were so caring. They had childcare. I mean, it was just amazing to me that someone was like, okay, I'll keep your children for you while you get your education. And so Liz actually emailed me, and she let me know that I can come back. So I came. I mean, when I came, it was just like an embrace from them. They were caring from the start. I had car trouble. I had all type of problems. And when I say my instructor, she was like, I'll take you home. It was just, I just felt loved. I felt like they really cared, even with down to taking tests. They made sure that we were educated. The whole experience was just awesome to me. I loved it from start to finish. It was challenging. Yes, it was, but I made it. And it's beautiful. I can't express how much I really appreciate them. I never knew that I could finish something, and I did it with them. Like any other program I've been in, it's like I didn't feel that caring. I didn't feel like they really cared about if I made it or not. And with them, they were with me every step of the way, from the phone calls to the making sure I was picked up if I needed a ride, the child care, my children having somewhere to go. They did it. And so I just really want to thank the Y, thank them for everything that they've done. Thank you for, just helping me and my children and getting me my CNAs.
Hey, good morning. Welcome in. I'm extremely excited to be able to speak to you all this morning about the importance of the YMCA and why you should be committed to helping them and their mission of serving us in our communities. Obviously, I have some objectives for you today, and I want to, one, recognize the needs that the YMCA plays in our community. What needs do they feel? Like, how do they get that done? Second thing, I want to learn and I want to teach you, like, how do you master, like, every area of your life? Like, the Y is just not a gym. They do so much more. And I think for us, we have to think more holistically than just our bodies. We have to think about different areas of our lives that we need to improve. And lastly, I wanted to talk to you about how you decide that you're going to leave your legacy. I've decided on how I want to leave mine. I'm going to talk to you about how you're going to leave your legacy. So first, let's talk about the community and the stats, like right here in Indiana. First of all, obesity. 1 of 3 Hoosiers children in Indiana are overweight. Also, 1 of 3 Hoosier adults are overweight. Obviously, the Y is a gym. They help serve that need. To talk about like the activities that they have for these kids to be involved in, like sports, some organized activities, right? When kids play sports, what happens? Well, children who participate in youth sports between 6 and 12, 40% higher test scores. An amazing feat. 10% higher lifetime earnings and 50% increased likelihood of college attendance. The Y provides these resources so we can get that done. Talk about nutrition. 1 in 3 families in Indiana say at some point throughout the year they had struggled financing their next meal. Important. And lastly, suicide. Talking about mental health. Every 8 hours in Indiana, someone dies. So talking about the mental health, talk about the fitness aspect, talk about the jobs, everything that the Y provides. It's just an amazing place that serves inside of our communities. And the Ortho Indy Y at Pike, their partnership with the veterans and having a Center for Veterans, where I have a soft place in my heart for. My father was a veteran. In fact, he reminds me of the gentleman inside the pool. And at one point in time, my father suffered from PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome, so bad that he actually left our family for 2 years to go get help. We had no idea where he was. There wasn't any local resources that could provide those type of services. So he's in West Virginia at a hospital so he can get help. So now right in our communities, our veterans can stay home with their families and get resources, all because of the YMCA. We talk about Greenfield YMCA. We talk about 3 National Honor Society students who have an opportunity to work inside of the YMCA. So not only do they provide resources for our communities, they also provide jobs for not only our young people, but other people inside the communities that provide them a place to work, provide them a place to serve others inside their community. Talk about the needs of our community. Talk about COVID-19, the pandemic, the crazy year we had last year. And so many families didn't know what they were gonna do. Mom had to go to work, she's an essential worker, father essential worker. Like, where do we take our kids at? Well, the Y solved that with a solution and allowed for families, some for free, to actually drop their kids off and teach their kids while they're at work. So talk about the many needs of the Y. Talk about it just not being a gym, just not being a pool. Talk about the Y's mission, and that is for their programs to build healthy spirit, mind, and body for all. Healthy spirit, mind, and body for all. See, I think no longer can we just be one-dimensional in our approach to serving inside of our communities. These people not only need a gym and a place to work out, but they need a place to heal mentally, to solve some of their challenges. They need a place for hope, maybe getting a job. We heard the story about Tanisha and how she was able to not only find a place for somewhere to watch her child, but also get a certificate, a CNA, that she can now have an income where she could be able to provide for our family. So that's what the Y provides in our community. That's why the Y is important. And for me, I'm always thinking about like what's important for me and like how do I raise my individual standards, right? We all should have standards in our lives, and we all do. And we make choices on how we impact those standards. And for me, I can remember when I was playing college and I had to raise my standards. Wasn't on scholarship. I was a walk-on. In fact, I was about to hit home because I could no longer afford tuition. My parents paid and refinanced the house twice in order to pay for me to go to college, and they couldn't pay anymore. And I went to the college coach, and he told me that that they luckily came up with a scholarship. And the moment changed my life because I got an opportunity to stay in school, to get an education, to be able to provide for my family. But this is the next moment. I went inside of the locker room and told my teammates that I had a scholarship, and one guy challenged me, and he said, "Man, a scholarship, you should worry about starting." And for me, initially, the scholarship was like, man, I get to hit 3 squares, or I get 3 meals. I no longer have to be the kid standing outside the meal hall asking someone to swipe me in so I can eat. Like, I get a full meal plan. But he said, no, challenge yourself to be a star. Challenge yourself to do more. And it reminds me of this quote, the exact same thing. And the quote goes, I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay no more. However, I begged in the evening when I counted my scanty store. For life is just an employer. He gives you what you ask, but once you have set the wages, well, you must bear the task. I work for Minos Hire, only to learn dismayed, because any wage I would ask in life will willingly pay it. So what the YMCA does to people like Tanisha and people inside our communities is give them the ability to ask more of life. Not even ask more, give them the skill sets so they can be able to provide more in life. And that's what helping out inside our community is all about. How can we give someone hope? How can we not only give them fish, how can we teach them how to fish for themselves? And that's why the Y does a great job. The Y does this obviously with resources from the membership, the resources from donors. Why is that important? Because not only do the memberships cover it, but they need people to provide resources, support that can also help them in their mission. For me and my company, any situation that I'm trying to solve, I use a framework. Frameworks are great for solving challenges. And my framework that I use is called the championship framework. And what the championship framework does is it allows me to, one, look at my current situation. Our current situation is that we saw the needs for some of these families in this area. Our desired destinations, well, the desired destinations for the YMCA, the desired destinations for the Y is so that they can become one of the country's 10 healthiest communities by 2025. That's a BHAG. That's a big, hairy, audacious goal, but I believe in them. I believe that they could get that done with your support. And then A, what does the A stand for? A, they apply the 80-20 principle. It's called the Pareto's principle. 20% of our activities reap 80% rewards. Well, you're talking about childcare. That's an essential, right? That's 20%. You talk about fitness and health. You talk about mental awareness. Talk about all the services and resources that the Y provides. They get it. They get it right to the core, and they afford the community a place to go and heal and work out and have a community and find other people of like-mindedness that are engaged in these activities. So I think it's so important, the resources that they provide. And next, obviously, once they do that, they take massive action. You look at the footprint of the YMCA, the one recently that just went downtown with Ymca family, the one in Pike, the one that's getting raising money for now in Westfield. So they're trying to take massive action. They recognize the need is not just currently where they currently are, and if you're at one of the current locations, that's awesome. But the need is also greater than that in Indiana, and their mission is to continue to serve, right? The top 10 by 2025. They need more households in order to get that done. So they continue to grow and try to expand to provide resources inside of these communities. And for me, after the massive action, after you take this leap of faith, we know the situation, we know where we want to go, we know how we get there with the systems and with some of the processes and with some of the programming that's already provided. We know the massive action, but the last and most important thing in life is this pursuit of this championship transformation. Like, what's the pursuit of this championship transformation for ourselves? Like, what can we do internally to pursue being a champion? Not only a champion for ourselves, a champion in our community. Like, what does that look like? I know for me, in my life, I want to be a servant. My mom, who was an ordained reverend, she would tell me that the greatest among us will serve. And I think my gift of giving back, my gift of speaking, my gift of having a foundation, serving outside of our communities, that's something that I don't take lightly. I don't take lightly like my time, talent, and resources and giving them in areas that could provide our real impact. And I think when you look at yourself, and sometimes we lie to ourselves and we come up with these excuses that what can one person do? And I think the greatest lie ever told is that we don't think we can make an impact. The greatest lie ever told is that we think one person cannot provide power. Like the compound effect tells us that one person, then 2 people, then 3 people, then 8 people, then 20, and compound effect comes into place. And then next thing you know, the Y is able to afford more resources, more community development, more Ys across Indiana, and more ability for them to reach their goal. I talked about the last objective I want to talk to you today about, and that was about leaving your legacy. Like, what will your legacy be? I can remember when I was in college. I graduated from college May 23rd, which is my birthday. Early in May, I got free agent, picked up by the Indianapolis Colts, right? Played with the Colts for 9 seasons. An awesome, amazing time. So I go home, we have this big barbecue, right? So this is my family picture. So high school dropout, Vietnam vet, but I promise you, he's the smartest man I ever knew. He had a PhD in street smarts. And I can remember being at home for my barbecue, and this was a military man, and I don't know about your fathers, but he woke at 4 o'clock, cooked all the food. Food is done by 9, 10 o'clock. Everyone's out. He's done his job, and he was like, all right, he go in his room, now leave me alone, right? That was just my father. But during the party, we're having a good time. It's about 150 people outside. And he said, hey, boy, come inside. He used to call me boy, right? And I go inside the house, he brings me inside of his room. I'm like, all right, cool. This whole notion of making it to the NFL, like my signing bonus was $2,000. So after taxes, I didn't have a lot of money. But he knew that. And I thought, all right, cool, he's gonna get money. So I come to the house and said, hey boy, congratulations, I'm proud of you. But I got good news and bad news. He said, the bad news is, like, I don't have any money for you. Right, we paid for this party, we paid for these ribs, these chickens, right? You guys enjoying yourself. I hope you enjoyed yourself, right? The bad news is I don't have any properties to give you. It's not gonna be stocks and bonds. None of that is gonna be left for you, right? He knew he was sick, he knew he was dying. He said, I got good news. He said, the good news, I'm gonna give you something that's more powerful and more important than any of that. He said, what I'm gonna give you, and what I've already shared with you, is a good last name. He said, Brackett is a good last name. I gave you that. I've done good by my name, boy. I worked hard, took care of my family, right? We're talking about divorce rates at 50%. We're talking about so many men in African American communities leaving their family. We're talking about veterans taking their lives. We're talking about all the challenges that he faced. But all he did was serve our communities. I say that he had a PhD in street smarts because any problem that he wanted to solve, he would spend time reading a book to figuring out the answers and then to form our communities. I mean, my dad essentially ran a YMCA from our front steps, serving people with mental health awareness, serving people with resources to get jobs, serving people education on how they should go interview and do mock interviews on my front step. So I understand the importance of the why, the importance of leaving a legacy. And that left a lasting impact on me. So wherever I go, wherever I get the chance to speak, what I know for sure is that I'm doing it for my last name and not my first. I'm doing it for not only my kids, but my kids' kids. When I'm involved in the community, I'm doing it for the least of these. I'm doing it for people that have been misrepresented. I'm doing it for people that hasn't had the same opportunities that I was afforded to. So that's how I want to leave my legacy. Like eventually, I think people are going to forget that I played football, if they haven't already. And that's fine by me. But my goal is to never have them forget how I made them feel. Never have them forget the impact that I made inside of my community. And I think it's crazy because in life 2020, challenging, and so many people had devastating, events that happened in their personal lives. I know I did in my personal life, several fronts, had to pivot from the restaurant industry, obviously with COVID shut down a lot of our restaurants. And there's one notion that was a reoccurring thought in my head that, like, man, my goal in life was not to go broke, right? Not to go broke, whatever that meant. And what I realize now that the broke is a point in time. And broke is a mindset. It's not a financial situation. So I know I could never, ever be broke. And what I've learned about resources and money is that ultimately, my goal in life is not what I could leave for people. More importantly, is what I could leave in people. So that's why I use my time, my talent, my resources to leave in people hope, to leave in people inspiration, and to leave in people to desire to want to do more, to want to be more, to want to live their life like a champion. Appreciate you guys, and anything you could do to help the Y and help them help our communities, I'm sure will be greatly appreciated.
I volunteer as a member of the YMCA Board of Directors because I know the people and programs of the Y make a positive impact on the people here in Central Indiana.
The Y has been like an extended family for me. They support me and my family in the way that a grandparent might, and with the kind of values that I would like to instill in my kids. They're truly my village, and that I couldn't continue my job and do what I love to do without knowing that my children's well-being is in a happy state.
As a board member, I find it a privilege to contribute to the Y's mission to help people grow in terms of improving their spirit, mind, and body.
The YMCA Livestrong program is just what I needed to move beyond my cancer diagnosis and treatment. pain and fatigue are often uninvited passengers on a cancer journey. Livestrong and personal trainers like Shelley at the YMCA help me navigate that pain and fatigue, one workout at a time, both physically and emotionally.
I just want to thank you for all you do for so many of us with little small children. You are the bright start to their future. Thank you.
Thank you, YMCA and Livestrong, for paving the way today for a better tomorrow and a future of hope.
Good morning. I'm Tom Denary, the current board chair of the YMCA of Greater Indianapolis. I want to welcome you and thank you for helping us kick off the annual campaign for 2021. You just got a brief glimpse of how the YMCA touches lives throughout our community on a daily basis. And earlier you heard from our leader, Derek Stewart, talking about how the Y responded in this difficult year of 2020 and what a reimagining looks like for 2021. So on behalf of the association board, I simply want to share our thanks and appreciation. We couldn't have done any of this without all of you, our donors, and so many of our partners as we begin to emerge from the pandemic. You're also important to the YMCA movement. Before I conclude, I want to make sure you see the donation link up on screen. You can make a donation or a pledge today, and we'll go ahead and put that link back up on screen at the end of the program. But mostly I wanted to share why Maggie and I have been giving to the YMCA for so many years now. We think the YMCA is a great example of how people can live active, healthier lives, and we simply want to make sure that everyone has access to the YMCA. So as we close this morning's event, we thought we'd have a few more of our volunteers share why they give to the Y.
My son has grown up at the Y. He learned to swim here, played basketball and karate for the first time. Now he volunteers and works out. By giving to the annual campaign, I know that those gifts allow other kids to have the opportunity to take advantage of these great programs too.
I give to the Y because they utilize resources from donors to benefit their members. And on top of that, they create a huge sense of community and they bring people together.
I give to the Y so that any family or individual, no matter the age, can participate in all the programs at the Y. No one should be turned away from all the wonderful opportunities that the Y can provide. Please consider giving generously. You can make a difference.
Hi, I'm currently serving as board chair for the Youth Development Advisory Board serving Greater Indianapolis. I'm happy to serve and support the YMCA each year with their annual campaign, as I've seen firsthand how their intentional programming has a positive impact on our communities, our students, and their families.
Good morning, I'm Joellen Buffy, and on behalf of the Baxter Board, we want to thank our staff who worked tirelessly during the pandemic to keep us safe and open. We want to thank you, our community partners, and individuals who support us every day in serving the mission of the Y in our community through your time, talent, and treasure.
I give to the YMCA because as a young person I attended the Y, and I find it now to be what I found it to be then, which is a place that's a safe space for young folks, a space that allows you to expand your sense of community by interacting with different types of people, and then also a place that allows you to not only learn but then model healthy behaviors that will benefit you into the future.
I donate to the Y because it's a charity that works side by side with our neighbors to make sure that everyone, regardless of age, income, or background, has the opportunity to grow and thrive. Plus, all the money donated stays in our community to help the families of our community.
Being a part of the Y is a great opportunity for me to be able to contribute back to our community. That's why I give to the annual campaign each year.
As we kick off the 2021 annual campaign, I'm reminded now more than ever in these challenging and uncertain times of the significance of our founding principles: youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. I ask you to join me in the new year in coming together to ensure that our community is one of healthy mind, body, and spirit for all.
When you think of everything that's good in this world, you think of organizations like the YMCA. Healthier minds, healthier bodies, better people. That is why I give to the YMCA.
What keeps me motivated? Well, I snuck into the Early Learning Center here because this is where we make a dent into our future and make change. This is where kids come to learn. Nobody's turned away, and it's a reflection of everything that happens here at Randsburg.
The Jordan YMCA has been a big part of my life. My dad was a lifeguard there growing up, and then when I was a kid, my family would go there to swim, play basketball, and be active. I give because I want to make sure that other families have that same opportunity to learn, be healthy, and have a safe place to go with their friends. I'm proud to be a part of this amazing team helping our Indianapolis community.